Hello everybody, welcome to Project Beauty, where we talk about project panning and everything beauty related. My name is Jen. I'm going to be doing the Panner's tag today, and I'm so excited. It was created by the beautiful Ruth of Ruth Foley on YouTube. I will have her Instagram and YouTube channels linked down below. Please go ahead and check her out. I'm sure all of you are already following her, but if not, I would really appreciate it if you would check her out. She's just simply amazing. Love her to bits, so please go check her out. I'm going to go through these. I'm not 100% prepared. It goes up on May 7th. So what I will read you here is all of the information at the top. It's not that much, actually. I just screenshotted a little bit of it. But Ruth says, me and a few friends of mine will be posting our answers on May 7th of May, or sorry, the 7th of May. I'm like rereading things. I know it's happening. Okay, so me and a few friends of mine will be posting our answers on the 7th of May, but you can post it whenever it suits you. So basically what she means is, post it when you like. You don't have to post it on the 7th of May, but if you do, please tag Ruth. I would really appreciate it if you would give her credit for that. That would be so great. She will have more information on hers, I'm sure, so please go ahead and check out hers as well as everybody else who's doing this. There is a tag. I don't have it right now, but it will be in the title and it will be in the description as soon as I have time to fill that out. You guys know how I am. Life is crazy. I fill that out as soon as I can. But basically it's called the Project Panning Tag, and it has a lot of questions regarding panning and items that you pan and stuff. So we're just going to go through them and I'll try and give you my best answer. So let's go ahead and get started. Number one is the easiest category to pan. For me, the easiest category is probably face powder. I mean, I could choose other things like foil samples or setting sprays and stuff like that, but for actual hitting pan on a product, I would say for sure it would be face powder. So I have a few examples in front of me. The first one is my Studio Fix powder from MAC. This is in the shade C3 and it looks like this. Very, very yellow base. That's me. I have a lot of bronzer on right now. But this is just the most wonderful finely milled powder. You can use this on its own with a little bit of primer. Just if you have oily skin, something like this is really nice if you don't want to cake on a cream or something like that. For me, I like a very, very light tint of a foundation, and then I would put this to sort of set it because I do have very, very oily skin. So I like to put this on for extra coverage, but I don't want a full coverage foundation and then another full coverage powder on top, because this is full coverage. If you want to look very flawless, this is the powder. So this is something that I would go through. You can actually see the rings kind of starting to form. I can anyway. I don't know if you can really see it on camera, but it doesn't take me long to go through a face powder, and it's something that I use through probably most or hit pan most. So easiest category to pan. I have flown through face powders like crazy in my YouTube time, in using makeup at any time. Always the face powders are like the first thing to go. Also, sometimes transition shades as well are very easy for me to pan. So anything that I put in this area is usually just the same kind of shadows over and over and over and over and over, and I can go through those pretty quickly. I also have another one here. This is a baked formula from Kosas, and this one's in the shade, it says Comfy Cloud Set. I think Comfy is the shade, and it looks like this. So you can have a couple of different options for face powders, but this one I think I would go through faster because it's a baked formula and there's a lot of little pockets of air in something like this, where this one is more firmly pressed, but I still go through these really quickly. Number two is hardest category to pan. For me, I would say powder blushes. I think powder blushes are probably the hardest to pan, especially MAC. So I have a couple of options here. This one is the MAC and Toledo collection. This one is so firmly pressed. I have used this, I don't even know how many times, and it barely looks like, without the dust flying around the sides, like it would look like I had never used this before. It's just not moving. And I've used it so much. And then here's another one that I have in my collection that I've used a ton. And again, it looks like I have never ever used it. Now I have one in front of me that I'll share with you that has a slightly more looser formula. It is still firmly pressed, don't get me wrong, but it's much less firmly pressed than the other two that I shared with you, and that is the Sheer Tone Shimmer Blush Collection. And I'm sorry for that. It's just I put prices on things I hope to closely pan one day, and that's because I actually do have pan in this one, but it took me years and years and years to even get that little tiny bit of pan. So there is a hope, there's a bright light there. But this is still going to take me so many years, so I'm not even actually sure that I'm going to be able to finish it. So blush is something that is so hard. Not cream blushes, but powder blushes are so hard for me to hit pan on. But I still enjoy the challenge. I love all the colors. Oh, I love it. Blush is so fun. The next thing is for 3, a product that you flew through, and that I selected setting spray because the first one said easiest category to pan, which could have been this, but this one is something that I fly through like crazy. I use these all the time. I go through so many Fix Plus throughout the year, not necessarily a setting spray that has more alcohol base in it that sort of dries down on your skin and sucks up any of that moisture. This has a bit of an oil base to it, so it gives you a little bit more hydration and just like hydration and like an oil to the skin, so it doesn't, to me, it doesn't set. If you have drier skin, that may work well for you. It looks less powdery. But for someone who has oily skin, this is just something nice to put on just to refresh my skin throughout the day. It's not really something that I like to put on top of my makeup because I feel like it would break it down, especially with how much I use. So I really do love Fix Plus, and it's definitely something that I fly through like crazy every single year. So that's for that one. The next is number 4, a product that you lost the will to. You lost the will, it took so long. So I actually decluttered this. I tried everything in my power to use up this bronzer. It was the Lise Wachee bronzer. It is so beautiful. I actually have another item as well, but this one I had to declutter because it was something that I just couldn't anymore. I used it and I put it in projects and I couldn't. Something in me was just like, I'm so tired of looking at it every time. I don't know where to store it. It was so bulky. I kept putting it on my face and I enjoyed it, but it just took so long to even make any kind of tiny little dent that it was just so not exciting to use anymore, even though it was such a fantastic product and I would totally buy it again, which is so stupid. But yeah, it's just definitely something that really just took everything out of me and I couldn't take it anymore. And the second thing, which I actually didn't take out of my collection, is this one here. This, you guys know, if you've been watching my channel for the last 2 years, you guys know. This is the Hourglass Ambient Light Palette. I'm not going to show you the inside because I'm working on this right now, but I put it in my project pan last year. It was in the, I think it was in my 21 and 2021, and I wanted to complete it. I can't remember exactly. I think it was that one though. And I think I used it like 5 times. I didn't want to look at it. It was the same thing with that bronzer. I didn't want to see it in my collection anymore. I had no desire to look at it or touch it or use it. It wasn't, I don't enjoy the product. I'm actually angry that I put money out on this and it's just still sitting here and I have to look at it. I know that seems like crazy, but I don't know. I'm just so tired of it. I'm actually using this up this year. This is my goal. I'm really, really going to get this out of my collection and I'm actually going to use the product this year. I'm doing very, very well. So I have all faith in myself, a lot of motivation, a lot of self-inspiration. I'm going to get this out because I do not want to look at this anymore. It's taking everything out of me to even pick it up. I have it on my forehead and stuff like that. And it's very, very, very bronzy for the bronzer part of it, and the face powder is very, very dark. The highlighter is nice, but it's very dull and like it could be like a shimmery set, like face setting powder. So it doesn't, like the highlighter is way light for the face all over powder, finishing powder, and the bronzer is very, very red. So it just doesn't feel like a cohesive theme. And I just don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy the products at all whatsoever. So yeah, this is something that it says a product that you lost the will, it took you so long. Legit, this thing right here, because I'm actually panning it, and I have like almost lost the will, but I'm doing it. I don't care. I'm doing it. So number 5 is product you wouldn't let beat you. That's also this one right here. But another one is my little highlighter from Becca, and it's just a mini, okay? I have never, ever, ever, ever panned a highlighter in my whole entire YouTube channel. In my whole entire life, I've never panned a highlight. I've been doing YouTube for a very long time, and I have not ever panned a highlighter because I just have so many in my collection at one time. I will share with you where I'm at right now because I'm very proud of myself, and I'm getting this one out of my collection this year as well. But this is where I'm at right now, and I'm not letting it beat me. I'm not letting it like win. I'm not going to get tired of it. I'm going to keep using it. I'm going to keep loving it. I'm going to keep being excited about it because if I don't, it's going to win. So I'm really excited about this. I'm really pumped to get this out of my collection eventually, and I can see that pan growing. It's making me so happy. I had to share that. The next one is number 6, easiest eyeshadow formula, matte and shimmer. For both of those, I'm saying Makeup Geek. I know they are no longer like a brand, a thing, but Makeup Geek is so easy to pan. I have a couple here that I'm going to share with you. So this one right here is Shimmer Shimmer, and I'm almost done this one. I've already panned another Makeup Geek eyeshadow this year. It looked like that at the beginning of the year, and I panned that in like a month or two. So maybe it was 3 months, but like sporadically because I was barely using it. This one I just started, and I know I'm going to have this done in a few months if I can like actually mentally tell myself to use it. But this one I know for sure I'm going to have out this year as well. And just when you look at the other eyeshadows, like of course without looking at those two up here, but the rest of them, they barely look touched, even though these ones are all Makeup Geek ones. I know I can plow through them. This one right here has a huge dip, and I maybe only used that one like 10 times after I had first got it. So I was using it a lot when I first got it. That's Bitten. And I put it in a project. Did I put it in a project, or did I just put it into a face palette? I think I just made my own face palette with the Makeup Geek eyeshadows. And I use this one quite a bit. And I have a little dip in there now. And I am so excited because this is one of my favorite items. And I don't have an item, I don't think, that's very similar to that. But anyhow, I know I can probably hit pan on that even this year if I really focus on it. So I know this one will be gone and this one will be gone, but none of my other eyeshadows look like this. None of my other eyeshadow brands are that easy to pan. So Makeup Geek for sure is the easiest. The next one is Proudest eyeshadow formula, matte and shimmer. And again, both of those go to the same brand, and that's going to be MAC. If you guys seen my eyeshadows from MAC, I have a palette that I had made. I took them all out, so of course I don't have it to show anymore. But I had a pre-made palette that had 15 eyeshadows on each side. It opened up like a book, and there was 15 eyeshadows on each side. And one side was like more purpley plum mauves, and the other side was like browns, like warm browns and oranges and stuff like that. I used that eyeshadow palette so much. It does not look like I've even tried to use that palette. There is such little use looking, when you look at that palette, it looks like I barely touched it. But I got so much love out of that palette. It was my favorite palette for years and years. And even still, when I think about using those shades, it's just, they're so beautiful. They're so amazing, but they're so finely milled and so tightly packed that you need the littlest amount because they're so pigmented too. That, and when I say so pigmented, I mean you barely need much on your brush. Not that when you swatch it, it doesn't look pigmented at all. But when you take that little bit on your brush and you apply it to your eye, it gives so much payoff without being too much. It's not like straight up pigment. It just has a lot of pigmentation. When you gently apply it, it just looks so good. I love MAC eyeshadows. But they are hell to pan. I have actually panned, and that's what I was talking to you guys about earlier about the transition shades being relatively easy. I have gone through 2 soft browns, just the single pans like this already. This is my 3rd one that I'm on, but that is over the course of, I want to say over 10 years. So I definitely, like, this one is still original. This one is still original. I think this is nylon and this is carbon, but this one is my second brulee, and this one is my third soft brown. And so, like, literally, I mean, I probably should be exchanging this for a new one and this one for a new one because those are so old. Even I'm sure the formula has changed. But they take so long to go through, like legit so long, that if you ever wanted a MAC eyeshadow palette, you would never need to buy another eyeshadow palette probably again in your life because it will last you forever. Yeah. Number 8 is the best alternative to pan a product faster. I'm sorry, I'm looking at a picture that I took on my phone and it's super grainy. I'm so sorry. So best alternative use to pan a product faster. So for example, I'm going to say contour or under eye setting powder. So if you're trying to pan an eyeshadow that's like the cream color, like either of these two, like for example, this one or this one, and you're having a little bit of a struggle getting through those products, I would recommend using this color underneath your eye. This one would be really nice for a contour shade, or even just to do the nose and under the lip, just even small detail areas where you can use a tinier brush to get in there. And that would actually help. You can still use your face contour, but you can use something like that to do the smaller detail parts of your makeup. Also, you could use a shimmer to do your highlighter. You could use colors to do blush. So I think that sorry, for some reason my lips are saying things that I'm not thinking. I think that eyeshadows are probably the best alternative to other products, where you could also use like a primer as a moisturizer or like a hand lotion. But it probably will feel a little bit tacky depending on the kind, like, or slippery if it's a silicone one. So that I wouldn't feel like would be the best alternative. But I feel like eyeshadow, you could have a whole palette of just eyeshadows and you probably would have everything you need for your full face for powder products. So for me, I feel like eyeshadows are the best alternative, but there are so many ways to use other products, like lipstick for blush, or you could use eyeshadow to set as your eyeliner so you don't use your eyeliner, or you can sort of put an eyeliner all over your eye as a base. There's so many ways that you can multi-use products, but I feel like eyeshadows are the most, like the best alternative, just like she said, the best alternative. I hope that makes sense. I'm all over the place, you guys. Number 9 is the best project panning tip or trick. So that, again, using your eyeshadows to pan them faster, using your highlight for your eyes, like here, tip of the nose if you want. I don't do that because I have a larger nose. Cupid's bow. You could use your shimmer eyeshadow for any like little detail high points. You could use your transition shades that are more of a cool brown as your contour. You could maybe use a slightly more warm brown as maybe a bit of a bronzer, but just of course go lighter handed. Yeah, I feel like that is such a good tip. Also, not putting too much pressure on yourself. I'm probably giving way too many things. I think they're just looking for like one. But I have a lot of tips and tricks to share when it comes to project panning. So I might do a separate video down the road. I have one already on my channel from years ago, but it's something that I'd like to film again when I have a little bit better of train of thought. But there's just so many uses that you can use so many things on. Like instead of using a lipstick, you could use your lip liner to just fill in your lips completely. There's so many things that you can do. And I will probably go through quite a few of those in the future. But for now, I'm going to say again, the same thing for your best project panning tip or trick is if you're trying to use through your eyeshadows and you can find alternate uses for them to hit your pan faster. The only issue is you're going to be alleviating any of that, usage that you really wanted to use on your blushes and your highlighters and your bronzers and all that stuff if you use your eyeshadows. So other things in your collection will suffer if you're using that. So if you're looking for something where everything still gets used, then I would recommend just planning out what is most important to use up first, depending on your goals, and sort of focus on items. I love focusing on items because I know other things get left behind, but then once those items are gone, you can go ahead and focus on the next one. So that's another thing that I really like to do. But that's where I'm going to leave that one, because I could go on for a while with different tricks. Number 10, I'm going to say what project panning has taught you. So it's taught me to really appreciate what I have, not just always wanting the next best and greatest thing. There's so many things coming out, always new releases, and some brands just throw up items constantly every week, and it's too much. And they make it so that the promotion looks great and everyone's getting this stuff like for free, and they're showing you how amazing it is, and then you don't hear about it for like years later because everything was so great for 1 week and that impulse buy is there. So really try to focus on what you have and just appreciate everything that you already have in your collection instead of just constantly buying new. That's something that I've really been trying to learn a lot, and I had serious FOMO. Excuse me. I stopped doing YouTube for a few years after I had my son, just to take some family time and really absorb and appreciate being a mother and spending that time, that bonding time with my son. And when I came back, I had serious FOMO about so many things that I missed out on when I wasn't doing YouTube anymore, because I wasn't paying attention to the next best thing that was coming out. Other things were more important to me. And then when I got back into YouTube, it was like all these makeup things I wanted, and I don't know, it didn't make any sense to me why it was bothering me that much that I didn't have this highlighter or this palette or whatever, when in all honesty, I can't even use up the things that I already have in full, honestly. Like, I'm never going to use through every single one of these eyeshadow palettes before they expire. And thinking of it that way, it's like, I appreciate having the things that I have, but at the same time, it's a lot for one person for sure. But doing YouTube and having an Instagram page and having a passion for makeup, I enjoy having a lot, but I also have to remember to enjoy what I actually have, because guaranteed if something new comes out, it's already been done and I probably already have it in my collection. So I think for me, that's like something that project panning has really taught me, to just appreciate what's in front of me, use what's in front of me, and that's as simple as that. Use it. Just use it all. Use what you have, and you don't have to worry about the next and best greatest thing, because what you have is pretty great, I'm thinking. I mean, I know a lot of my stuff is pretty dang great and I love a lot of it. So and what I don't like, it goes. So that's probably the best thing, is use what you have, and yeah, just use it. It's that simple. Just use it. And the last thing is a credit to Deb B, or at Deb B, and that is, what product are you what product are you proudest of panning? Okay, well, sorry, it is so blah. What product are you proudest of panning? Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and say my eyeshadow palette that I completed last year for Tiny Pans. It's the first eyeshadow palette that I ever fully completed, and although it was small, it still had a lot of product in it, and it was the Lorac Mini Matte Pro, and it had a lot of mauves, burgundy, browns, blacks, whites, creams, stuff like that in it. 8 shades. And I panned the whole thing like well before the end of the year, which was fantastic. And the thing is, I didn't like it at all. I hated it, and I hate panned it. But I'm really proud that I did it, because I saw it through, I pushed through it, and it really showed me that, you know, don't be so excited about all the things that come out, because you might not like it anyway. But I completed a whole eyeshadow palette. Even though it was small, I completed a whole eyeshadow palette, knowing all the things that I have in my collection. Like, that was a lot for me. So for me, I'm so proud. I'm so proud of panning that. I don't know that I have anything else that I've really truly panned. Like a face palette, I've only panned a half of a face palette once. That was last year. Before that, I tried to do pan that palettes and things, but I never achieved it, because everything I chose was always mammoth sized. and there was no way I was ever going to get through all of that. But yeah, I think that one would be my most proudest item. The item I'm most proud of. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Everything else is there. I don't think just face powders, and I know I can pan through face powders. So as proud as I am of that, I'm really proud of the eyeshadow palette. That was amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I wish I could read this easier. I wish I took a better picture of it. It's just, yeah, really weird to take a picture with your tablet on your phone. So I apologize, but I will have all the questions linked down below so you guys can read them properly for yourself and not have a terrible image to read from. But I'm really doing this on a whim right now. So I hope you enjoyed, and I really can't wait to see what everybody else has chosen for their answers. And I really can't wait to watch Ruth. I think that's going to be so cute, and I'm so happy she did this. So thank you, Ruth, for including me in this. I really appreciate it. And I hope that everyone who's watching this likes and subscribes if you haven't done so already. And I hope you check out everybody else's video because they are just fantastic, wonderful people. And in this community rocks. Let's just put it that way. This community is amazing. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I will see you again in the next video. Bye.